Given the chance to refine a ghost, would you prefer to focus on its appearance or its abilities? For Pei Ling, of course he wants both. However, one can't have it both ways. The result of trying to do so is that the female ghost he refined may look passable, but her cultivation level is quite disappointing, so he assigns her to do some cleaning tasks. As for himself, he plans to hand over the elixirs he refined during his closed-door cultivation to Jing Jingshan for selling. But upon arriving at Jing Jingshan's withered orchid courtyard, Pei Ling notices that the front door has deteriorated even more, and the Ouyang senior sister who greets him looks deeply worried. Fearing the worst, Pei Ling hurries inside to check. Fortunately, Jing Jingshan is not seriously injured, but he is rambling incoherently. Ouyang's senior sister explains that Jing Jingshan has been like this since he was brutally beaten by Jin Sutai. Pei Ling is speechless. If Jing Jingshan really has gone mad, then there's no one to help him sell elixirs and make money. Suddenly, Jing Jingshan, appearing severely ill, bolts upright and grabs Pei Ling's clothes, cursing, "You little brat, you flirt and cause trouble everywhere, nearly getting me killed." Pei Ling quickly pulls out a storage bag filled with top-grade foundation pills and jade pill cultivations to appease him. Seeing the opportunity for profit, Jing Jingshan reluctantly lets it go. After all, Pei Ling is someone Fairy Lee has taken a liking to. But then Pei Ling steps on a landmine by asking, "If nothing major happened, why are you pretending to be mad?" This really infuriates Jing Jingshan. "How dare you bring this up? You flirt with girls and then run away, leaving me to take the fall. If I didn't pretend to be insane, that crazy woman would never have let me go easily. Fine, I'll make another trip to the Sea of 10,000 Serpents. But if you cause me any more trouble, don't blame me for not showing you any favors." Pei Ling quickly promises not to cause any more trouble. Seeing this, Jing Jingshan hobbles toward the door with his cane. But before leaving, he reminds Pei Ling, "Don't forget to register for the Outer Sect Grand Competition. The rewards for coming in first are extremely generous. Top-grade elixirs, rare treasures, elemental essences, so much that they might not even fit in a storage bag." However, Jing Jingshan doesn't have high hopes for Pei Ling. After all, there are countless talents in the sect. Back in his day, he was a notable figure in the Outer Sect, but only barely made it into the top 10. No sooner had Jing Jingshan left the withered orchid courtyard than Pei Ling heard a scream. Without a doubt, it must be that crazy woman cornering him again. Time flies, and soon it's the preliminary round of the Outer Sect Grand Competition. The selection process is quite complicated, starting with initial screening on various peaks, followed by regional selection, and finally picking representatives to compete against the other 3 domains. Winning is not easy. Pei Ling's first opponent is Tian Songheng, touted as Huayin Peak's strongest foundation establishment realm disciple. This was deliberately arranged by elderly Ping of Huayin Peak, because one of the disciples that Pei Ling killed for their treachery when he first joined was Li Ping's grandson. With such deep-rooted animosity, how could an elder of Huayin Peak easily let go of Pei Ling? Soon, Pei Ling and Tian Songheng are ready. From the audience's murmurs, it's clear that Tian Songheng is formidable, especially that pale face of his. Even a 3-day-old corpse would look more lively. With the referee's signal, Tian Songheng leaps forward to initiate the attack, and a host of eerie skulls materialize behind him, charging at Pei Ling. Pei Ling, not daring to be careless, uses his bloodthirsty blade technique to strike at Tian Songheng. However, the next moment, the arena falls eerily silent. Not until the referee announces the result do people react. Is this the Pei Ling who killed all his fellow disciples on the mission to the Han family mansion? Too terrifying. He defeated Senior Tian with just one strike. No wonder Jin Sumian has taken him as a Dao companion. At this moment, Pei Ling is also bewildered. Is Tian Songheng, reputed to be Huayin Peak's #1 in the Foundation establishment realm, this week? Where did all these rumors about me come from? Even elderly Ping of Huayin Peak looks utterly shocked. Such formidable power. It's not something a normal cultivator without any backing could possess. Considering the bloodthirsty blade technique that Pei Ling just used, it's very likely his backer is Li Liu. If you anger Li Liu, his entire Li family might face annihilation. Being flexible is a sign of a wise man. Li Ping quickly decides to approach Pei Ling, stating that his grandson got what he deserved and his death was not a loss. He hopes Pei Ling can put past grudges behind, and that their family could potentially say a few good words for him in front of Li Liu. He pleads for Pei Ling to be generous and not to hold a grudge against his family. Finally, he offers a storage bag full of high-quality spiritual stones to Pei Ling as a token of goodwill. As for the remaining competitions on Huayin Peak, Pei Ling doesn't need to participate anymore and can focus solely on preparing for the Southern Realm selection. Pei Ling is delighted inside. The reputation of Fairy Lee sure comes in handy, turning enemies into benefactors. Why refuse free money? So, Pei Ling gladly accepts Li Ping's gift. Just as Pei Ling returns home and prepares to start alchemy, a visitor arrives. Surprisingly, it's Jin Sumian and Liu Qiang, the former of whom he had slandered. Facing Jin Sumian's visit, Pei Ling doesn't apologize. He arrogantly believes that since Jin Jingshan already took a beating for him, there's no need to hold grudges. Jin Sumian only came to inquire if he had passed Huayin Peak's preliminary round. Upon receiving an affirmative answer, she says she'll settle scores with him unfairly during the Southern Realm selection. Pei Ling is speechless for a moment. Jin Sumian's physique, always engrossed in alchemy, he could probably kill her with a flick of his finger. Isn't this just seeking trouble? If something unexpected happens, who knows what Jin Sutai would do to him? Thankfully, Luo Qiang intervenes to smooth things over, asking what they are quarreling about and suggesting they talk things out. While talking, she tightly interlocks Jin Sumian and Pei Ling's fingers together. Jin Sumian's face turns red instantly. Who said we are a couple? Pei Ling takes the opportunity to say, why should fellow disciples fight to the death? Since senior sister Jin is skilled in alchemy, why not compete in that instead? The loser will be at the disposal of the winner. Seeing Pei Ling's audacity, Jin Sumian naturally agrees, to ensure Pei Ling doesn't deny the loss later. Stubborn Jin Sumian asks Luo Qiang to act as the referee. However, Luo Qiang just smiles knowingly, thinking how creative young couples are nowadays. Imagining that the loser will have a hard time tonight, she even thinks of some inappropriate binding games. At this moment, stubborn Jin Sumian starts her alchemy. It has to be said, her talent in alchemy really lives up to her reputation as a genius alchemist. Her skillful control of fire and mastery of ingredients genuinely impress Pei Ling. But who fears what when one has a system to assist? Especially these arrogant geniuses. The more you make them feel the gap in power, the more completely you can conquer them. However, Pei Ling's cunning strategy appears differently in Luo Qiang's eyes. It seems junior brother Pei prefers to be the submissive one, so he intentionally chooses not to resist and accepts defeat. Seeing that the time is right, Pei Ling activates his one-key autopilot system. To his utter surprise, the system pops up a message offering a free grade 8 alchemy furnace. Feeling that something's wrong but too late to correct it, he watches as his body, controlled by the system, leaps into the air and kicks Jin Sumian squarely in the face. Caught off guard, Jin Sumian is kicked into a stupor, foaming at the mouth. Luo Qiang perceives the situation and figures, judging by junior brother Pei's eager demeanor, that he's probably about to get down to business. Sensibly, Luo Qiang quickly finds an excuse to leave, allowing the lovebirds some privacy. Pei Ling is also exasperated, thinking that the system's betrayal is beyond ridiculous. He laments that if you're going to fleece someone, at least don't make it so blatant. Half an hour later, Jin Sumian finally regains consciousness and is instantly furious. She wants to kill Pei Ling on the spot. However, Pei Ling, who has been betrayed by the system countless times, doesn't bother to explain and starts to slack off. I won. I didn't mean to attack you. If you want to kick back, go ahead. Upon hearing this, Jin Sumian looks at her grade 8 alchemy furnace, only to find 8 top-grade foundation building pills neatly arranged inside. It's not difficult to produce top-grade foundation building pills, but achieving this level of quality for every pill is almost unbelievable. Even top alchemists might not be able to do it, but Pei Ling accomplishes it effortlessly. Losing is not what scares her. It's the completeness of her defeat that she can't accept. Overwhelmed by a sense of helplessness and frustration, she can't help but sob uncontrollably. Just as Pei Ling is about to step forward to comfort her, he notices Jin Sumian slowly removing her clothes, murmuring, I lost. Do with me as you will. Given such a rare opportunity, Pei Ling chooses to maintain his composure. He asks Jin Sumian only to share some information about the Southern Realm selection. It's not that Pei Ling is particularly virtuous, but rather that Jin Sumian's cousin is notoriously brutal. This earns Pei Ling a bit of goodwill from Jin Sumian, who even starts to think that she might have misjudged him. Getting back to the matter at hand, in the holy sect where strength reigns supreme, there's a competition among the outer disciples from the 4 realms every 10 years. This contest determines how resources are allocated to various peaks within the sect. Jin Sumian says the one to watch in the Southern Realm is Gong Jian from Ruoxiu Peak. Unless something unexpected happens, he's likely to be the champion of this Southern Realm selection. Besides him, there are 4 other cultivators to be wary of. Qin Qing of Flying Skull Peak, Shinja of Ghost Hand Peak, Duamu Mingyan of Ghost Willow Peak, and Zhao Tianlai of Blood Tide Peak. Jin Sumian even uses Tang Nanjai as a basis for a quick analysis. Gong Jian's abilities are far beyond Tang Nanjai's, while the rest are probably on par with him. Hearing this, Pei Ling feels a surge of confidence. After all, he was able to withstand Tang Nanjai's attacks even at the 7th level of Foundation Establishment. Now that he's at the 9th level, he thinks that besides Gong Jian, none should pose a threat to him. Having obtained the information he wanted, Pei Ling tells Jin Sumian she's free to go. However, Jin Sumian hesitates, her face flushing red. Pei Ling senses trouble. Could she be thinking of revenge? Thankfully, she only wants to purchase a top-grade foundation building pill crafted by him for her research. This puts Pei Ling's mind at ease. He promptly gives her a bag of top-grade elixirs he'd concocted, along with a recipe for foundation building pills. After all, his system had tricked her more than once. It's only fair to compensate her. Upon receiving the elixirs, Jin Sumian silently vows to surpass Pei Ling in the art of pill refining. However, as soon as she leaves Pei Ling's residence, she hears Luo Qiang teasing her with a satisfied look. What are lovebirds arguing about? You look pleased as punch. Junior brother Pei must have treated you well, though it happened faster than I thought. Jin Sumian's face turns beet red, and just as she is about to explain, Luo Qiang cuts her off. laugh. What's there to be shy about between Taoist partners? Junior brother Pei couldn't wait to pounce on you while you were concocting pills. And he even knocked you out. I saw it with my own eyes. Jin Sumian's simmering anger explodes anew. Pei Ling, you bastard. This isn't over between us. Time flies quickly, and the day of the Southern Realm selection soon arrives. Jin Sumian arrives early at the venue to wait for Pei Ling. However, she finds herself harassed by a sycophant with the surname Zhao. Luo Qiang sees this and immediately scolds him, saying, Jin Sumian is already spoken for. You should stop bothering her. See over there? That's junior brother Pei Ling, and he and Jin Sumian are quite fond of each other. Don't meddle in their affairs. This enrages the sycophantic Zhao. When Pei Ling arrives, Jin Sumian immediately stops him and says, make sure you're not eliminated in the first round. I plan to challenge you in the next one. Pei Ling is speechless, thinking how stubborn she can be. However, their public interaction is taken by onlookers as confirmation of their partnership. Even Jin Sutai, the only one who knows the real situation, starts to waver and immediately begins grilling Jing Jingshan for information. Poor Jing Jingshan ends up being severely interrogated by Jin Sutai. The first challenge of the Southern Realm selection is to capture copper balls, of which there are 100. You must break a copper ball to pass this round. Suddenly, the whole field is plunged into darkness. As everyone prepares for what's to come, large copper balls begin to fall from the ceiling like meteorites. People dodge hastily, but several disciples at the 8th level of Foundation Establishment are caught off guard. Some are knocked down, others are blown away by the force. Pei Ling realizes that there are over 1,000 participants, but only 100 copper balls. He knows it won't be that easy, so he decides to bide his time and wait for the right opportunity. Just as he's thinking this, a disciple at the 8th level of Foundation Establishment launches an attack on a copper ball. The sound of clanging fills the air, but shockingly, the disciple's attacks leave not even a scratch on the copper ball. However, the next second, the copper ball transforms into a copper-armored giant at the peak of Foundation Establishment Realm Level 9. With a swing of its copper arm, the disciple at the 8th level of Foundation Establishment is instantly turned into an afterimage and sent flying, landing in the distance with an unknown fate. Pei Ling is slightly startled, thinking that this copper ball challenge is very different from what he had imagined. In the noisy arena, there's one disciple in a simple robe who remains calm and composed. This person is none other than Senior Gong Jian. Seeing the copper-armored giant approaching, Gong Jian flicks his sleeve, and 4 blood puppets appear. At the command of Gong Jian, the 4 blood puppets at the 9th level of Foundation Establishment Realm rush out, surrounding the copper-armored giant. The copper-armored giant struggles to break free, swinging its heavy fists at Gong Jian. Gong Jian quickly summons the blood puppets to block the attack. With a loud bang, the enormous impact sends Gong Jian's energy and blood surging. Gong Jian waves his hand again, activating the 10-direction blood demon formation. The blood puppets charge out once more. Seeing this, people on the floating island collectively gasp, amazed that Gong Jian has trained the blood puppets to such a level. In just a moment, the copper-armored giant falls to the ground with a thud. Gong Jian becomes the first person to clear the stage, and the disciples in the arena can't help but marvel at Senior Gong Jian's formidable strength. Pei Ling, holding the life-loathing blade, employs the vampire vanishing technique and leaps into the air. With one slash, he cuts the copper-armored giant in half, advancing directly to the next round. People gasp in awe, commenting on his terrifying strength, especially Jin Sutai in the stands, who breaks out in a cold sweat, wondering how Jin Sumian can possibly seek revenge against such a formidable foe. Some are happy, some are worried. As for Jing Jingshan next door, while he is shocked, he is even more excited. If he can get Pei Ling to help him obtain the 7-hearted demon Baby Lotus, he can fully refine the glamorous Bone Rakshasa diagram. By that time, Jin Sutai, who has been bullying him all along, will become a mere plaything in his hands. Jing Jingshan. However, joy turns to sorrow. Jing Jingshan, who was caught up in his triumph, forgot that he was pretending to be lame. Jin Sutai catches him red-handed. Already in a bad mood, Jin Sutai proceeds to beat up Jing Jingshan with punches and kicks. Next, they arrive at the second round of the selection, the Arena Challenge. There are 10 arenas, and the first to reach this stage becomes the Arena Master. Those who come later can challenge the Arena Master to become the new master. At the end of the time limit, only the 10 masters on the platforms will advance. Being a loyal follower of Jin Sumian, Xiao Jining naturally wouldn't miss any chance to shine in front of his goddess. So, during the second round of the Southern Realm selection, Xiao Jining chooses to challenge Pei Ling's arena without hesitation. Entering the arena, Xiao Jining doesn't rush to attack. Instead, he opts to humiliate Pei Ling first. However, before he can finish stating his intentions, he's cut down by Pei Ling. Thankfully, there are protective spells set up for this round, so the loser is simply teleported out of the arena without any risk to life. Being kicked out, Xiao Jining realizes that Pei Ling is out of his league, but when he sees Jin Sumian looking at him, Xiao Jining suddenly feels emboldened. He convinces himself that Pei Ling must have used some underhanded tactics. He promptly decides to re-enter the arena. Seeing this, Jin Sumian kindly advises, "The difference in your strengths is too great. You're better off challenging other arena masters." But her advice only makes Xiao Jining starry-eyed. He thinks, Junior sister Jean is talking to me. She must care about my well-being. If I can teach Pei Ling a lesson for her, she'll surely agree to go on a date with me. With that thought, Xiao Jining cares little about the disparity in strength. He swears that he will risk life and fortune to discipline Pei Ling for Jin Sumian. However, upon entering the arena again, he's swiftly cut down by Pei Ling before he can even speak. Adhering to the principle that he can't let his goddess down, Xiao Jining decides to use all his assets to hire help. He secures Gong Jian's assistance for the price of 50,000 spiritual stones. By this point, Pei Ling has already dealt with 43 challengers. So far, no one has been able to withstand even one blow from him. This makes Pei Ling somewhat skeptical about the strength of disciples from the Southern Realm. As the arena battle is nearing its end, Gong Jian suddenly arrives to challenge. Pei Ling instinctively slashes out with his sword, but his attack is easily caught by the opponent. Although the arena has a spell that prevents seeing the other's face clearly, Pei Ling guesses that this powerful challenger is likely Gong Jian. What confuses him is why Gong Jian, who should be an arena master, is challenging him. Pei Ling doesn't let his guard down. He instantly uses his bloodthirsty blade technique for another swift attack. Gong Jian hurriedly summons a blood puppet to block, only to be knocked several meters away by Pei Ling's slash. Intersect blade technique? That little scoundrel Xiao Jining deceived me. Had I known, I would have asked for 100,000 spiritual stones from him, thinks Gong Jian as he unleashes his ultimate move, 10-direction blood demon formation. Suddenly, 10 blood puppets appear and fiercely attack Pei Ling. As Pei Ling struggles to defend, the puppets start revolving around him in a strange manner, emitting piercing, unsettling cries. Pei Ling feels mentally disoriented, but forces himself to search for an opening. After some probing, he determines the opening is above him. However, before he can leap, Gong Jian launches an attack from above, completely cutting off his escape. Just as Gong Jian is about to land a killing blow, Pei Ling's eyes clear up and he counterattacks, slashing Gong Jian's chest. While Gong Jian is undeniably strong, in Pei Ling's eyes, his skills are simply for show compared to Han Sigu he encountered before. With Gong Jian's defeat, the second round of the Southern Realm selection comes to an end. The crowd is abuzz, but Xiao Jining looks utterly dumbfounded. Not only did he fail to discipline Pei Ling for his goddess, he actually made Pei Ling famous throughout the Southern Realm. Moreover, he lost 50,000 spiritual stones, and even cost Gong Jian a spot among the top 10 arena masters. What's more unbearable for him is that his goddess is now secretly smitten with Pei Ling. She even thinks that becoming Dao companions with Pei Ling wouldn't be a bad idea. At this point, Jing Jingshan, an elderly, slowly walk over. Jing Jingshan pats Pei Ling on the shoulder, full of praise for his performance. Elderly then says, I've talked it over with the domain master. You don't have to participate in the third round. You're automatically promoted. Pei Ling thinks to himself, another automatic promotion. It sure is convenient to have backing. Jing Jingshan immediately grabs Pei Ling's hand at this moment. There's some time before the final competition. Come with me for a bit, junior brother Pei. Pei Ling asks in confusion. Go? Where to? Jing Jingshan replies, of course, to see senior sister. Upon hearing this, Pei Ling can't help but salivate, excited to experience another passionate encounter. Led by Jing Jingshan, Pei Ling quickly arrives at Li Liuyue's palace. The various arrangements within the palace give Pei Ling a strange sense of familiarity. He even faintly feels that he once shared some intimate moments with Fairy Li here. Just as Pei Ling is deeply lost in this sensation, Jing Jingshan suddenly turns obsequious and asks for a small favor. It turns out that the top 10 disciples from the outer sect competition can choose an item from the spiritual treasures provided by the sect, and the seven-hearted demon baby lotus needed for refining the glamorous bone Rakshasa diagram is among them. If you could help your senior brother, I have a big surprise for you later. Without hesitation, Pei Ling agrees. After all, Jing Jingshan has suffered quite a bit from Jin Sutai because of him. As for the surprise that Jing Jingshan promised, Pei Ling feels it's not necessary. However, Jing Jingshan boldly declares that he will secure all the benefits for his junior brother, which warms Pei Ling's heart. The two then see Li Liu sitting on a high platform. First, Jing Jingshan praises Pei Ling's alchemy skills endlessly, implicitly suggesting that Li Liu's discerning eye hasn't wasted such a rare gem. He then goes on to excessively laud Pei Ling's performance in the Southern Realm selection. He mentions how Pei Ling defeated the copper armored giant in the first round with a single stroke, and how he was unstoppable in the second round's arena battle. Even Gong Jian, touted as the #1 young talent in the Southern Realm, was nothing but a pushover in front of Pei Ling. After all the flattery, even Pei Ling starts feeling a bit embarrassed. However, he thinks to himself that old Zheng is indeed reliable this time, as even the usually sternly Liu shows a look of approval. Seeing that the timing is right, Jing Jingshan hurriedly speaks up. Senior sister, junior brother Pei has shown such remarkable performance. Given time, he will undoubtedly become your right-hand man, and also the future prodigy of our holy sect. He deserves to be rewarded. Li Liu immediately asks Pei Ling what reward he wants. Secretly thrilled, Pei Ling hesitates because he doesn't know Li Liu well enough to know what to ask for. He worries that asking for too little would waste a golden opportunity, while asking for too much could make him seem greedy. So he glances at Jing Jingshan and says, "Senior sister, Senior Jing knows what I want." Upon hearing this, Li Liu turns to look at Jing Jingshan, who smiles faintly and gives Pei Ling a reassuring glance. He then says, "Senior sister, junior brother Pei has recently taken a liking to Jin Sumian from the Jin family." Pei Ling, who is attentively watching Li Liu, suddenly feels his mind go blank upon hearing this, and it takes him a while to snap back to reality. Although junior brother Pei is highly talented, he comes from a humble background, and the Jin family might not agree. So we need senior sister to put in a good word and fulfill junior brother Pei's wish. Is that so? Li Liu crushes the cup in her hand and says coldly. Finally, Pei Ling catches on and thinks, "What the hell, stupid Jing Jingshan, is this the surprise you were talking about?" Feeling a wave of killing intent envelop him, Pei Ling quickly explains, "I am wholeheartedly loyal to senior sister and have no ulterior motives." Senior Jing must have misunderstood. Only then does Li Liu gradually retract her killing intent, slowly saying, "Win the first place in this outer sect competition and become the fourth true inheritance of holy sect within 10 years. You may leave now." Not daring to hesitate, Pei Ling quickly drags Jing Jingshan out of the palace. However, just as he lets out a sigh of relief, Jing Jingshan starts boasting, "So, am I reliable or not? If you win first place in the outer sect competition, Jin Sumian will definitely be yours." Pei Ling's face turns ashen. "I was almost killed because of your stupidity just now, and you still have the audacity to bring it up?" After learning about the rumored relationship between Pei Ling and Jin Sumian, Li Liu immediately orders Zhao and I to bring Jin Sumian to the palace. In just a short amount of time, a bewildered Jin Sumian is forcibly brought in front of Li Liu by Zhao and I. At Li Liu's signal, Zhao and I immediately asks Jin Sumian to recount her entire experience with Pei Ling. Jin Sumian hesitates for a moment, then recounts the whole situation. "A month ago, he broke into my residence and stole my jade pill cultivation and 9 dark cold spring water. A few days ago, he knocked me out and stole my pill furnace for alchemy." However, Li Liu doesn't seem interested in those details. She casually asks, "So during these instances, he never laid a hand on you, did he?" Jin Sumian blushes slightly. "No, Pei Ling didn't do anything to me." Learning the truth, Li Liu's expression softens instantly. "In that case, what's the fuss about?" Jin Sumian trembles at the statement. "What do you mean, fuss?" Before Jin Sumian could fully react, she is sent away by Lady Wu Lu. Back at Li Liu's side, Zhao and I analyzes, Jing Jingshan is likely envious of the Jin family's wealth and connections. Since his words were not Pei Ling's intentions, does he still get his reward? Li Liu is not stingy with Pei Ling's reward, considering it was all a misunderstanding. She immediately hands a jade scroll containing insights on the Tao of the Blade from Holy Sect seniors to Zhao and I to give to Pei Ling. As for that waste Jing Jingshan, she thinks he's probably been too idle lately. She decides to send him to the Yinluo mine to dig for ore, with the condition that he can't return until he's excavated 100,000 pounds of Ranphosphor iron. Pei Ling, currently sitting in the courtyard, is extremely annoyed. If there had been a real romantic relationship with Jin Sumian, he would accept Fairy Li's punishment, but the entire situation was fabricated. Not only did he lose his reward because of Jing Jingshan's words, he was almost killed by Fairy Li. Suddenly the atmosphere chills, and Zhao and I appears out of nowhere. Frantically, Pei Ling grabs onto Zhao Ni's leg and starts to lament. "Lady Zhao and I, whatever Senior Jing said earlier was not true. You have to believe me." Seeing Pei Ling's sincere tears, Zhao and I smiles. "My master already knows the truth. Perform well in your next mission. If you succeed, I will recommend you for a promotion after you enter the inner sect." Pei Ling is slightly puzzled. "What about Jing Jingshan?" "That idiot Jing Jingshan has been sent to the Yinluo mountains to mine. He won't be back anytime soon." Pei Ling perks up at this. Mining is indeed a good idea. After all, it doesn't require brains. But then he thinks, who will take the fall for me in Jing Jingshan's absence? Pei Ling sighs. "Looks like I'll have to rely on myself from now on." After seeing off Lady Zhao and I, Pei Ling looks at the dominant Blade Truth and Blood Blade Truth in his hands, unable to put them down. Just by their names, he knows they are powerful techniques. The problem now is that his system is really unreliable. Who knows what trouble it will get him into this time during cultivation. Pei Ling has his own ghost servant, Little Ci, so he instructs her, "If you see me getting up, you have to stop me." Sure enough, as soon as Pei Ling activates the one-touch cultivation on his system, a prompt pops up saying, "Detected that this cultivation session requires Dominant Blade Qi and Slaughter Blade Qi. The system will provide them for free." Then, under the system's control, Pei Ling dashes toward the courtyard. Fortunately, Little Ci is reliable. Just as Pei Ling is about to rush out of the courtyard, Little Ci leaps into the air and strikes him down, making him fall flat on his face. Lying on the ground, Pei Ling feels quite frustrated. Little Ci's way of stopping me is really special. That was a bit harsh, wasn't it? But the urgent matter is, where can I get Dominant Blade Qi and Slaughter Blade Qi? It would be great if Jing Jingshan were here. Just when Pei Ling is at a loss, Little Ci, who usually isn't very clever, suddenly has a bright idea. Why not ask elderly Ping for help? It's like waking up from a dream. Isn't that a ready-made new support? Pei Ling immediately goes to seek Li Ping's help. However, what surprises him is that Li Ping treats him even better than his own son. Not only does he treat him lavishly, but he also agrees to provide both types of blade qi without even asking why. Within just one day, Li Ping personally delivers the 2 types of blade qi to Pei Ling. This leaves Pei Ling flabbergasted. Upon inquiry, he learns that the results of the external sect competition can directly determine the resource allocation for the 4 domains for the next 10 years. The southern domain is already weak, and Huayin Peak is at the bottom. If Pei Ling could lead the southern domain disciples to win in the 4-domain competition, the cultivation resources for the entire southern domain would significantly increase. However, apart from Pei Ling, the southern domain really doesn't have many capable fighters. They even allowed Gong Jian, who was already eliminated, to re-enter the selection. Hearing this, Pei Ling feels enormous pressure. Since my teammates are all slackers, I can only rely on myself. Knowing yourself and your enemy is the key to victory. I'd better first find out what opponents in the other 3 domains need to be watched out for. Li Ping continues. The leaders of the northern domain, Zhu Erkong, and the western domain, Ruan Chuchu, are both at the Foundation realm. You should pay special attention to these 2. As for Lu Xian from the eastern domain, he was originally Luo Qiao's disciple from the southern domain. It is said that after joining the eastern domain, he gained some opportunities and is now likely at the Foundation realm as well. He is cruel and bloodthirsty, especially hostile to anyone related to Fairy Li. If you encounter him, don't hold back, kill him if you can. Pei Ling is at a loss for words. I haven't even started the competition, and I already have a mortal enemy. They want me, at the 9th level of Foundation Establishment realm, to kill a fierce man at the Foundation realm, and even tell me not to hold back. How highly do they think of me? However, Li Ping confidently says, the resources for outer sect disciples are scant, so even if they've reached the Foundation realm, it's generally just the human Foundation realm. How can they be compared to you, Pei Ling, who has a strong foundation? The competition among the 4 domains finally arrives. The supervisor of the palace stands on the water surface and slowly says, talents from each domain. Below the water in front of you lies one of the sect's secret realms, the world within the mirror. Before anyone can react, shards of mirror appear in the hands of these talents. The mirror's surface faintly displays a dozen points of light. Apart from one blue point, all the others are red. The supervisor of the palace continues, go inside, kill monsters and collect treasures. The crystal mirror will automatically record points and rank you. The time limit is 10 days. The first 10 people to get 10,000 points advance to the next round. There is no ban on plundering and no protective formations. Once you're in, life and death are in your own hands. The holy sect doesn't want the weak or those with poor fate. The water surface, which was calm a moment ago, suddenly churns into a huge wave. 20 outer sect disciples are instantly swept beneath the surface. When Pei Ling opens his eyes again, he finds himself in a bamboo forest. Pei Ling looks around and finds that his lackluster teammates are not nearby. This indicates that the teleportation points within the secret realm are random. He just hopes he won't encounter Lu Xian right off the bat. Pei Ling casually takes out the crystal mirror to take a look and sees that there's one blue point and one red point inside the mirror. The blue point remains stationary at the center of the mirror, while the red point is quickly moving towards it. Pei Ling frowns slightly. The blue point is undoubtedly himself, but he's not sure if the red point is one of his teammates or a disciple from another domain. Suddenly, several green lights fly from behind him. Pei Ling hurriedly dodges, only to see a young man in luxurious clothing and a jade crown quietly arrive. The young man holds a 5-colored mandala flower and looks at Pei Ling with a half-smiling, half-mocking expression. Pei Ling immediately strikes back with a blade attack, which the young man easily avoids. As the young man releases more green lights, he taunts, "Junior brother, you're quite impatient. I heard Li Liu thinks highly of you, but as I see it, you seem quite average and lack the demeanor of an exceptional individual. Li Liu must have been mistaken." Pei Ling unleashes his bloodthirsty blade technique to its limit, blocking all the green lights. He then sends a massive blood-colored blade qi hurtling towards the young man. The young man's expression turns cold, and he gently shakes the 5-colored mandala flower in his hand. All the petals instantly fly out and form a light barrier in front of him. Pei Ling's expression turns slightly grim. The 5-colored mandala flower in the young man's hand looks delicate, but emits an extremely powerful force. This is a magical tool that can only be fully utilized at the Foundation realm. This person must be Lu Xian from the Eastern Domain. This is a good opportunity to eliminate this threat. Without any hesitation, Pei Ling, who has the upper hand, readies his life-loathing blade horizontally. His aura undergoes a transformation, filled with an intent to slaughter all living beings. He once again strikes at the light barrier in front of the young man. The young man wears a mocking expression. It's interesting that a disciple from the Southern Domain could cultivate such sword intent. However, as the blade qi gradually seeps in, the world in the young man's eyes suddenly changes. He sees collapsing mountains, rivers, corpses, and seas of blood, as if he himself will be doomed in the next moment. Startled, he realizes he's been captured by the opponent's sword intent. Quickly, he focuses his mind and, with his Foundation realm cultivation, forcibly dispels the chaotic illusions before him. Yet this momentary lapse allows his light barrier to shatter instantly. Just as Pei Ling thinks it's all over, the young man single-handedly catches Pei Ling's life-loathing blade. "You are indeed talented, but it's unfortunate you met me, Lu Xian. Today, you are destined to fall in the world within the mirror." A powerful wave of energy suddenly erupts from Lu Xian, sending Pei Ling flying backward. "Little bastard from the southern domain, kneel down and beg me to leave your corpse intact," Lu Xian says, switching from defense to offense and engaging Pei Ling in battle. Amid the flashes of blades and swords, the two seem evenly matched. However, after a collision accompanied by a burst of flames, Lu Xian is the first to collapse in the bamboo forest. In contrast, Pei Ling stands upright, the life-loathing blade in his right hand and the Blood River sword in his left. "So what if you're in the Foundation realm? I want to see how you withstand my blade intent and sword intent." Just as it seems Lu Xian is about to lose his life to Pei Ling, his body surprisingly turns into petals and vanishes into thin air. A gust of wind comes from behind him. He quickly turns around to find Lu Xian's 5-poison palm right in front of him. Pei Ling instinctively thinks about using the vampire vanishing technique to escape, but before he can act, he recalls the words describing the dominant blade intent from the Jade Slip. "Cowards die, the brave live, warriors are constant, there is no retreat, this is dominance." Without any hesitation, Pei Ling flips his wrist and counterattacks Lu Xian with a blade strike. An incomparable and dominant true chi instantly repels Lu Xian's 5-poison palm. Seizing the opportunity, Pei Ling delivers another strike, aiming straight for Lu Xian's face. Just as he is about to land the fatal blow, Lu Xian once again transforms into petals and disappears. Pei Ling quickly scans the surroundings. Confirming that Lu Xian has escaped, he focuses on dispelling the poison in his body. To his shock, he finds that Lu Xian's 5-poison palm is so overpowering that even after taking an antidote, there's no improvement. Left with no choice, Pei Ling activates his system's one key cultivation of bone refinement technique to help him detoxify. Meanwhile, those watching the fight are astonished by Pei Ling's prowess. When did Pei Ling learn sword intent and blade intent? He even forced Lu Xian to flee, Wu Lu says incredulously. Zhao and I explains, he tricked the sword intent from Cursed Ghost in Han family mansion, and the blade intent was given to him a few days ago by my master. Zhou Miaoli, one of the 3 disciples with a true inheritance, can't believe it. She thought Lu Xian would be the champion of the tournament and is surprised that he was forced to flee by an unknown person. However, she soon learns from a servant that Pei Ling is favored by Li Liu and had recently killed her cousin Zhou Yi. Dismissing her mediocre cousin's death, Zhou Miaoli orders an investigation into Pei Ling's preferences. "Anything Li Liu can give him, I can give more," she declares. Cut to Xinjie, one of Pei Ling's lesser-skilled teammates, being pursued by a disciple from the northern domain. Just as Xinjie is at a dead end, he spots Pei Ling in meditation and scrambles behind him for protection. Unbeknownst to him, Pei Ling is still in a one-key automated state and cannot control his body. Xinjie misinterprets Pei Ling's lack of action as complete disregard for the enemy and gains confidence, taunting the disciple from the northern domain. Initially hesitant, the northern domain disciple reconsiders. Ever since the Luo Qiao lineage from the southern domain was wiped out, all that remains are weaklings. He brandishes his twin blades and moves in to attack both of them. Xinjie urgently urges Pei Ling to act against the enemy. Pei Ling continues to cultivate at his own pace. Xinjie is stunned, and even Pei Ling breaks out in a cold sweat. Just as the disciple from the northern domain is about to strike, a system prompt appears, detecting an external attack and ending the cultivation. Regaining control of his body, Pei Ling instantly uses the vampire vanishing technique and bloodthirsty blade technique, killing the northern disciple in a single blow. Xinjie, who narrowly escaped death, expresses his gratitude. "Thanks for saving me, junior brother Pei. I would have been meeting my grandma if not for you." However, Pei Ling doesn't have time for Xinjie's complaints and quickly asks if there are other enemies nearby. Xinjie tells him there shouldn't be any more enemies, but they are in the territory of the emerald-eyed blood wolves. As if on cue, they are surrounded by dozens of these wolves, all with a cultivation level above the 7th layer of the Foundation establishment realm. Pei Ling is speechless. Great, Xinjie really jinxed it, he thinks. Xinjie becomes terrified, saying, "Junior brother Pei, now I'm really going to meet my grandma." Pei Ling assures him, "Don't worry, I'll keep you safe." But then he feels something tighten around him. Turning around, he realizes that Xinjie has long since fled, leaving him bound by a celestial rope. Facing the advancing wolf demons, Pei Ling has no choice but to break free and engage them in combat. To his surprise, he gains points for killing the wolf demons, which piques his interest. In no time, he slays dozens of them, turning the tables in his favor. The surviving wolf demons quickly scatter and flee. Not wanting to miss out on earning more points, Pei Ling prepares to chase them down. However, the appearance of the emerald-eyed blood wolf king interrupts this harmonious scene. "Youngster from the heavy mist sect, leave now, and I might spare your life," it says. Upon hearing the words of the emerald-eyed blood wolf king, Pei Ling becomes even more excited. In his understanding, a monster capable of human speech must have at least reached the Foundation realm level in cultivation. information translated into points. This would be quite a lot. Without hesitation, Pei Ling charges at the emerald-eyed Blood Wolf King. The two are instantly locked in combat, and in just a dozen or so rounds, the Wolf King is subdued by Pei Ling. Just as Pei Ling is about to deliver the killing blow, the Wolf King pleads for mercy. Pei Ling is unimpressed. "I preferred you when you were defiant," he says. The Wolf King, in a last-ditch effort, tries to negotiate. "Young hero, think it over. How many points do I even offer? The real treasures in the world within the mirror are its unique resources. My clan has lived here for hundreds of years. I know exactly where all the treasures are. Spare me, and my clan will serve you." Pei Ling consults his crystal mirror and sees that he has earned a mere 300 points for killing hundreds of wolf demons. This is far below his expectations. After weighing the pros and cons, Pei Ling decides to accept the Wolf King's offer. The first thing the Wolf King does after becoming Pei Ling's mount is to order the wolf demons to retrieve the body of Xinjia, who had betrayed Pei Ling. Looking at Xinjia's corpse, Pei Ling contemplates, "Since you're dead, you might as well continue to be useful." He uses Xinjia's remains for a dark practice, earning the approval of his sex elders. This young man is deeply immersed in dark arts and decisive in killing. He has unlimited potential. The scene shifts, and Pei Ling, having completed his bloodthirsty blade technique, embarks on a wonderful treasure-hunting journey astride the Wolf King. With 99 points for Bloodwood, 199 points for Blood Spirit Ginseng, and 299 points for Red Clear Ice Toad, Pei Ling effortlessly gains 1,399 points in just half a day. Delighted, Pei Ling quickly asks the Wolf King if there are more treasures nearby. The Wolf King sees an opportunity. The ghost-faced Peach Blossom Demon is a mortal enemy of their wolf clan. What better way to eliminate an enemy than through Pei Ling? He informs Pei Ling that in the territory of the ghost-faced Peach Blossom Demon head, there's a piece of stellar iron, a treasure far more valuable than Bloodwood and Blood Spirit Ginseng. Just as Pei Ling is about to set off, a red light flashes in the crystal mirror hanging at his waist. He notices a red dot appearing on the mirror, located right within the territory of the ghost-faced Peach Blossom Demon. After careful investigation, Pei Ling is quite certain that the cultivator hiding there is Lu Xian, whom he had injured earlier. Seizing the moment, Pei Ling flies up and slashes through the surrounding bushes, exposing Lu Xian. Seeing no reason to hide anymore, Lu Xian steps out, and upon seeing Pei Ling, he spurts out a mouthful of old blood. This brat really is like a bad penny. What infuriates him even more is that not only has Pei Ling survived his poisoning, but he also seems stronger than before. And to top it all off, he has even acquired a Foundation Realm mount. Just as Pei Ling is about to strike, he notices Lu Xian pulling out a blue pill. "That's not good," thinks Pei Ling. "Could that pill be the 7 Extinction Soul Dispelling Powder? I once used that very pill to defeat Fairy Lee. If I get hit, I'll be at his mercy." Seeing the pill rapidly approaching him, Pei Ling quickly directs the emerald-eyed Blood Wolf King to block the fatal blow for him. With a loud thud, the Wolf King collapses, its limbs going limp. Lu Xian's face is filled with disbelief. How did Pei Ling know about the 7 Extinction Soul Dispelling Powder? That's our Luo Qiao lineage's secret weapon. However, this isn't the time to ponder such things. If he doesn't run now, he might never get the chance. But no matter how fast Lu Xian runs, Pei Ling always manages to follow him at a relaxed pace. "Senior, why are you running? Isn't it embarrassing for a Foundation Realm cultivator like yourself to be pursued by someone in the Foundation Establishment Realm? Won't that become a laughingstock?" This infuriates Lu Xian. Do we really have to fight to the death? Just at that moment, a purple crystalline object appears in both of their fields of vision. Although Pei Ling is thrilled internally, he keeps a grim expression on his face. "That's right, today it's either you or me," he says. Suddenly accelerating, he swings his blade towards Lu Xian. Lu Xian instinctively dodges to the side, but then realizes Pei Ling had fainted. Utilizing his vampire vanishing technique to its fullest, Pei Ling picks up the stellar iron from the ground and flees. As he runs, he yells loudly, "Attention, all ghost-faced Peach Blossom demons. It's him who made me steal the stellar iron. If you have a grudge, go find him for revenge." Hearing Pei Ling shout, Lu Xian instantly understands that he's been set up. This brat has been leading him into a trap from the start, coercing him into helping find the stellar iron and then leaving him to take the fall. Just as Lu Xian, sensing that things have gone terribly wrong, attempts to escape, he's suddenly immobilized by vines erupting from the ground. Meanwhile, the now revived Wolf King, seeing Pei Ling return so quickly, assumes that he let the guy escape. Pei Ling, however, indignantly retorts, "Can't you speak? What do you mean let him escape? I've just found him a more intimate companion." Watching this, Fairy Lee can't help but reveal an approving smile. Wu Lu, who was fortunate enough to witness this, quickly turns to Jiao and I for confirmation. Jiao and I slowly says, "Such cunning and ruthless tactics, truly worthy of being a disciple of our demonic sect and fit to serve our master, unlike some worthless individual who can only be useful in the mines." The scene shifts, and the emerald-eyed Blood Wolf King is about to go and collect Lu Xian's corpse for a meal. However, Pei Ling feels there's no rush, as the world within the mirror is not that big anyway. Suddenly, a Golden Core Realm wandering ghost starts approaching them from a distance. Pei Ling is immediately alarmed. "Is this one here to kill me too? When did I offend a Golden Core Realm big shot? In this perilous secret realm, having a Golden Core Realm ghost suddenly show up would be terrifying for anyone. However, the ghost merely chuckles. Young friend, do not be alarmed. Just call me Wandering Ghost. I am a merchant assigned to this place by the Holy Sect. You were the top performer yesterday, so I've come to offer you 3 items for sale. Saying this, he takes out a jade slip for Pei Ling to inspect. Upon hearing this, Pei Ling finally feels relieved and respectfully starts examining the items Wandering Ghost has for sale. These 3 items are the Soul Explosion Technique, Beast Taming Blood Pack, and a Foundation Talisman. The Soul Explosion Technique is a spell for detonating objects. The Beast Taming Blood Pact can contract a Foundation Realm demonic beast, and the Foundation Talisman contains a pure form of Foundation-level power that one can harness for an hour. After looking them over, Pei Ling becomes visibly invigorated. He wants all 3 items, but they can only be bought with points earned within the world within the mirror, and each person is limited to purchasing just 1 item. Just as Pei Ling is indecisive, Wandering Ghost eagerly presents the jade slip containing the Soul Explosion Technique as his top recommendation. Pei Ling's system starts recording immediately, and he couldn't be happier. He quickly starts to stall for time, unaware that Wandering Ghost is growing impatient. To expedite the transaction, Wandering Ghost straightforwardly tells Pei Ling that although the Soul Explosion Technique requires a high number of points, it's not a one-time use item but a growing technique. Finally, the system completes the recording, and Pei Ling slowly says, "The Soul Explosion Technique does sound tempting, but I'll choose the Foundation Talisman." Wandering Ghost is momentarily dumbfounded. After sending Wandering Ghost on his way, Pei Ling, knowing that time is precious, immediately reviews the Soul Explosion Technique. After double-checking, he's fairly certain that he only needs talismans to practice the technique. Conveniently, he has already collected a large number of talismans from his teammates' belongings. However, to be on the safe side, he instructs the Emerald-Eyed Blood Wolf King, "Puppy, if I suddenly start walking in a different direction while practicing, slap me." Although the Blood Wolf King finds this puzzling, he agrees. With everything set, Pei Ling immediately opens his system and starts practicing the Soul Explosion Technique. The system controls his hands to take a bone halberd left by Shinja from his storage bag. It then guides the flow of spiritual energy into the halberd in an unfamiliar way. Just as the spiritual energy in the halberd is about to reach the point of explosion, the system hurls it like a javelin. A loud bang follows, and a small forest in front explodes into a plume of fire and smoke. The practice is interrupted by debris flying from the explosion. However, his joy turns to concern. He realizes something is off. The direction of the explosion seems to be where Wandering Ghost, the merchant, had gone. Pei Ling takes a closer look and sees a disheveled Wandering Ghost standing at the center of a deep crater. His bald head looks both eerie and somewhat comical. He turns around, his face filled with astonishment. Wandering Ghost's body suddenly expands and, in an instant, transforms into a giant demon several tens of meters tall. Damn ants! Pei Ling, realizing what's happening, pushes his vampire vanishing technique to its limit. The Emerald-Eyed Blood Wolf King keeps pace with him, equally fast. Confused, the lesser wolf demons instinctively follow their king, running for their lives. Wandering Ghost swats down where Pei Ling was just moments ago, only to strike a large hole in the corpses of several wolf demons. Glancing in the direction of Pei Ling's escape, Wandering Ghost refrains from pursuing him. After all, the rules of the Heavy Mists sect explicitly state that he can't attack the disciples participating in the tournament. Damn ants, never show your face to me again. The scene shifts. Lu Xian, having exhausted all his cards, counterkills the ghost-faced Peach Blossom demon and gains a huge number of points, moving to the top of the leaderboard. Suddenly, an irate Wandering Ghost appears before him, tossing 3 items on the ground and coldly stating, "I'm in a bad mood today. You have 3 seconds. Pick one." Damn it. Lu Xian hurriedly chooses the Beast Taming Blood Pact. Disdainfully, he comments, "Useless stuff. It won't even make it to the top 10. What a waste of sect resources." Frightened, Lu Xian breaks into a cold sweat. After Wandering Ghost leaves, Lu Xian picks up the Beast Taming Blood Pact, scratching his head in confusion. What is this thing, and how do I use it? Pei Ling, watching through a crystal mirror, notices that Lu Xian, who should have been dead, is now at the top of the points leaderboard. This means he must have killed the ghost-faced Peach Blossom demon and gained valuable resources. Just as Pei Ling is pondering this, Lu Xian's ranking abruptly drops several places. Pei Ling instantly understands. It appears that Wandering Ghost has already made a deal with him. Well, let's see what he chose. Pei Ling thinks. Lu Xian chose the Beast Taming Blood Pact. Just by hearing its name, it's clear that it's a technique for taming beasts. With this Beast Taming Blood Pact, I can't believe I won't be able to beat that brat Pei Ling. Suddenly, a sleazy voice comes from the side. Not bad at all. This is exactly what I need. Startled, Lu Xian hurriedly hides the technique behind his back. Pei Ling, don't push your luck. Why are you only targeting me? Complains Lu Xian. Pei Ling replies, well, we have a good relationship, don't we? Now, I'd like that Beast Taming Blood Pact you have. Mind doing me a favor? Hearing this, Lu Xian is furious, but given Pei Ling's formidable aura, he doesn't dare to retaliate directly. Instead, he reluctantly offers up a spiritual vision technique to appease Pei Ling. However, Pei Ling, upon accepting it, still shows no sign of backing down. He is set on obtaining the beast-taming blood pact. The tension between the two escalates to a life-or-death situation. Lu Xian spits out a mouthful of old blood in frustration and pulls out a pill, saying, "This is my sect's secret art, the 5-poison pill. It boosts all strengths but damages the internal organs. Let's see if you can withstand this." With that, he swallows the pill and his aura surges dramatically. Pei Ling, not taking any chances, channels his spiritual energy. The next second, however, Lu Xian bolts. Realizing he's been tricked, Pei Ling hurriedly takes out a talisman and activates the soul explosion technique. Although prepared, Lu Xian is blasted to the point of being unrecognizable. Reluctantly, Lu Xian hands over the beast-taming blood pact to Pei Ling. Just as Pei Ling reaches out to take it, a giant 5-poison palm descends upon him. Just when it appears that he can't evade it, the Wolf King sacrifices itself to block the fatal strike for Pei Ling. Seeing the injured Wolf King, a wave of unknown emotion surges within Pei Ling. However, given the current situation, he has to compose himself and face the enemy. To his surprise, Lu Xian has already fled. Although discontent, Pei Ling doesn't pursue him. He's achieved his objective. Besides, Lu Xian will continue to grow, like a leek being cut and growing back, only to be harvested again. In the end, everything he gathers will be mine. Now, my priority is to form a pact with a Foundation Realm beast using this beast-taming blood pact. The first creature Pei Ling thinks of is the Wolf King, but it feels that using the beast-taming blood pact on it would be a waste. It already considers Pei Ling its master, so there's no need for a contract. Moreover, it has a family to look after in the world within the mirror, so it recommends several other formidable beasts residing in the world within the mirror, like the 3-tailed spirit leopard, the green-feathered dragon horse, and the baby-headed python. Among them, the most challenging is the snow fox demon, which possesses a rare bloodline and specializes in illusions and heart-eating abilities. Even mentioning it sends a shiver down the Wolf King's spine. Pei Ling quickly picks up on the Wolf King's fear. If even the Wolf King is afraid of this beast, then it must be powerful. I'll go for the snow fox demon, he decides. Despite the Wolf King's strong dissuasion, based on its own bad experiences with the snow fox demon, Pei Ling believes that fortune favors the bold. Easier creatures wouldn't be of much use to him, so he and the Wolf King venture into the snow fox demon's territory. Wanting to wrap things up quickly, Pei Ling directly shows himself and threatens the snow fox demon into signing the beast-taming blood pact to avoid unnecessary suffering. To his surprise, the snow fox demon agrees without a moment's hesitation. A puzzled Pei Ling is about to ask why the creature doesn't resist when the snow fox demon explains, "I've been bored of this place. I've wanted to venture out for a while." Excited, Pei Ling quickly finalizes the beast-taming blood pact with the snow fox demon. Even more surprising is when the snow fox demon hands over a trove of treasures it has collected over the years in the world within the mirror after learning that Pei Ling needs them for earning points in the outer sect competition. This elates Pei Ling beyond measure. Feeling like the gods are finally compensating for the bad luck he's experienced, Pei Ling becomes the winner of the outer sect competition, impressing everyone. The Jean sisters and others voice their admiration, and Li Liu even throws herself at Pei Ling. Just as Pei Ling feels that his life is reaching a point of complete fulfillment, a sudden suspicion arises. Wait, Li Liu isn't this unrestrained? I must be under some illusion, he thinks. Recognizing this, Pei Ling shouts at the system, "I want to instantly cultivate the spiritual vision technique." A gust of wind blows away the previous illusionary scenes. Returning to reality, Pei Ling finds himself still in the valley within the world within the mirror. Not far away, the Wolf King is eating poop, with a look of sheer delight in its eyes, as if it's the finest delicacy in the world. Pei Ling's expression changes drastically. Although he has been caught in illusions before, he's always been able to detect them. This time, he had no idea when he fell under the illusion. If not for the absurdity of what happened in the illusion, he might have never known he was in one. Shaken, Pei Ling turns to the snow fox demon. "I won't fall for the same illusion twice," he says, drawing his sword to strike at the demon. However, the next second, his life-loathing blade falls to the ground, and he finds himself transformed into a small yellow dog. Feeling utterly humiliated, in a fit of rage, he quickly cultivates the bloodthirsty blade technique using a one-click function in his system. Yet, just as he repels the snow fox demon, the Wolf King pounces on him as if he were just another stray dog fighting for food. The Wolf King mutters, "This delicious feces belongs only to me." Pei Ling's face darkens. He had assumed that even if the snow fox demon were stronger than the Wolf King, they could still subdue it together. He didn't expect the demon's illusionary technique to be this terrifying. They are being toyed with without even having met their true opponent. Not daring to take any chances, Pei Ling quickly uses his system to one-click cultivate the soul explosion technique. Guided by the system, Pei Ling's hands summon a dark shuttle, and with the manipulation of his spiritual power, a massive explosion resounds, revealing the snow fox demon's true form, a pure and innocent-looking young girl who complains tearfully, "You're such a bully." Just as Pei Ling is about to forcefully make her sign join the beast-taming blood pact. The Snow Fox Demon puts on a pitiful act. Master, can I just listen to you from now on? Save the pact for taming other demons. Having been deceived before, Pei Ling naturally doesn't trust her. He threatens to scar her face and use her fur to earn sect points if she refuses to sign. Hearing this, the Snow Fox Demon becomes indignant. I have the noble blood of fox demons. Now I have to sign this demeaning pact. However, under Pei Ling's forceful demand, she reluctantly agrees to the pact. Pei Ling is still not satisfied. Sparing your life has already cost me a lot of points. Now tell me where I can find treasures to make up for the lost points. His behavior is much like that of an unscrupulous corporate boss. The Snow Fox Demon thought bitterly. Although I, Yu Xuezhao, am imprisoned here by the Heavy Mist sect, I am still a local ruler. Now I'm being ridden over by this nobody, she thought, recommending to Pei Ling 3 dangerous locations: Eternal Silence Cottage with its corpse king flower, the Day Cave with its millennia-old spiritual plants, and Dream Ridge filled with natural treasures. Even she wouldn't dare go to these places lightly. At the least, Pei Ling would lose a limb. However, just as Yu Xuezhao is feeling self-satisfied for her cunning, she realizes that Pei Ling has seen through her scheme. He even turns the tables by instructing her to retrieve the treasures alone. Confused and regretful, Yu Xuezhao quickly claims she's too injured and needs to rest, but Pei Ling is having none of it. He gives her 3 days and goes off with the Wolf King to harvest more leeks. Cut to Lu Xian, who is hoarding treasures gathered by 2 cultivators. Ever since escaping from Pei Ling, he has used the pretense of cooperation to gather all the cultivators in the world within the mirror and bring them under his control using nefarious means. Now, he just needs to wait for his minions to return with more treasures, and he'll be the first to reach 10,000 points before declaring victory. However, he intends to unite all the cultivators in the world within the mirror to kill Pei Ling. But just as he's imagining his future, Pei Ling takes the initiative to find him. Lu Xian is instantly alarmed. All the cultivators he controls are out searching for treasures, and the 2 with him are not enough to take on both Pei Ling and the Emerald-Eyed Blood Wolf King. Knowing he is outmatched, Lu Xian hurriedly pushes the 2 cultivators toward Pei Ling, hoping to buy time to escape. Pei Ling has no intention of letting him go. He orders the Wolf King to deal with the 2 cultivators while he corners Lu Xian deep in his cave dwelling. Seeing no way out, Lu Xian begs for mercy. I can give you whatever you want, all the treasures that I've ordered others to collect, even the secret arts of my Luo Qiao lineage, he offers. However, Pei Ling remains unmoved. You might as well say your last words. Once you're dead, everything will be mine, he says, and swings his sword toward Lu Xian. Meanwhile, Yu Xuezhao is lying on a tree, admiring her own handiwork. She's not willing to take any risks for her dog of a master, Pei Ling. Using illusions, she tricks the remaining few cultivators in the world within the mirror into going to Eternal Silence Cottage. She then dashes towards the corpse king flower while the undead are distracted by the cultivators. Within moments, she has secured the corpse king flower. Unfortunately for the deceived cultivators, they die without knowing why. Listening to their screams, Yu Xuezhao feels it's merely a lost opportunity for another clever trick against Pei Ling. The outer sect competition soon comes to an end. Pei Ling single-handedly kills 3 Foundation Realm experts and sends the recently subdued Snow Fox Demon to eliminate the rest. What was supposed to be a competition between 4 domains turns into a one-man show, astonishing the high-ranking members of the Heavy Mist sect. Even Fairy Lee thinks regular rewards are no longer sufficient for him. Jiao and I suggests making Pei Ling the temporary sect master of the Jiansang lineage, which Fairy Lee quickly agrees to. After all, that waste Jingjingshan has been mining for so long without progress. Some pressure would do him good. At the same time, Pei Ling and Yu Xuezhao find themselves teleported above a lake. However, Pei Ling is utterly confused. I just finished collecting Lu Xian's body. Why am I here? I should not have reached 10,000 points yet, he thinks. Yet everyone, including the sect's high-ranking members and the approaching supervisor of the palace, is congratulating him for winning first place in the outer sect competition. Realizing that something is wrong and suspecting Yu Xuezhao's mischief, Pei Ling becomes furious. She signed a blood pact and still dares to go against me. Her master? A lesson is in order, he decides. Without hesitation, he practices the soul explosion technique. Then, under the watchful eyes of the entire sect, he calmly throws his life-loathing blade towards the supervisor of the palace. Caught off guard, the supervisor instinctively catches the blade between his index and middle fingers. With a loud bang, the life-loathing blade shatters, but the supervisor remains unharmed, standing there with a slightly dazed expression. What just happened? The previously noisy sect becomes eerily quiet. Pei Ling surveys the unchanging environment and the deathly silent atmosphere, suddenly realizing something. Is this not an illusion? Did I just attack someone more fearsome than the Southern Domain Lord in front of everyone? At this moment, Yu Xuezhao is completely stunned. This is obviously a big shot from the Heavy Mist sect. I really don't understand what my foolish master is thinking. However, since her life is tied to her master's, she has no choice but to softly remind Pei Ling. She urges him to kneel and beg for mercy quickly. Hearing this, Pei Ling becomes enlightened and immediately points at Yu Xuezhao's nose to curse. "You wretched creature, you dare to use illusions on me." Then, he brazenly claims that he was deceived by an illusion and didn't intend to offend anyone. However, every person present is a highly accomplished cultivator. It's clear to them that Pei Ling was fully aware of his actions and was not under any illusion. It's just that no one decides to expose him. As for the supervisor of the palace, he sees in Pei Ling the same indomitable spirit as the sect's founding patriarch. Not wanting to ruin such a talented individual over a minor issue, he symbolically finds him 20,000 low-grade spiritual stones and lets it go. With a wave of his hand, the supervisor of the palace stirs up the waters of the lake. 10 attendants walk up, each possessing a cultivation level at the Golden Core realm. They are the strongest of the 10 clans enslaved by the sect so far. This kind of deep foundation truly amazes Pei Ling. Next comes the routine award ceremony, which Pei Ling doesn't pay much attention to until the supervisor of the palace mentions that as the champion, Pei Ling is entitled to choose a true inheritance for cultivation guidance. Each true inheritance holds different sect legacies. Just as Pei Ling is about to speak, Zhou Miaoli steps up. "I heard you have a killer instinct, and my blood path is most suitable for you. Also, you can select any woman from the Zhou clan as your wife or concubine. Moreover, whatever Li Laiyu can give you, I can give tenfold." Pei Ling suddenly thinks that Zhou Miaoli seems much better than Fairy Li. However, those who waver in loyalty are often abandon themselves. "If I betray Fairy Li, I will certainly be betrayed by others in the future. Besides, without Fairy Li, I wouldn't be alive today," he thinks. Without hesitation, he chooses Fairy Li. After Pei Ling chooses the mature and elegant Fairy Li, Li Laiyu ignores Zhou Miaoli and walks up to Pei Ling. She asks him what he would like to focus on for his main cultivation path. Without hesitation, Pei Ling chooses the way of the blade. After all, the first technique Fairy Li taught him was the bloodthirsty blade technique. Fairy Li then gives Pei Ling a secret manual called the Night Incineration Scroll, a top-tier blade technique in the Holy Sect and a prerequisite to the grand method of Infernal Flame world-ending subtlety. She says it should suffice for his foundation realm cultivation, and when he reaches the Golden Core stage, she will give him the advanced technique. Just as Pei Ling is about to accept the cultivation method, Zhou Miaoli steps close and says, "Junior brother Pei, it's not too late to turn back. I can find you a better blade technique without considering the cost. Besides, this cold stone doesn't understand what male cultivators really need." However, Pei Ling politely declines, stating that Li Laiyu is not as cold as she appears when they are alone. Seeing this, Li Laiyu smiles approvingly and gives Pei Ling a scroll on blade casting. "Since your life-loathing blade is broken, take this opportunity to forge a weapon that truly belongs to you. A gift from others can never fully resonate with your heart," she says. Pei Ling is deeply moved by her thoughtful arrangement and quickly presents a jade slip, saying, "Senior sisterly, I stumbled upon a Heavenly Dao foundation building technique during a mission and offer it to you for your enjoyment." Upon hearing this, the upper echelons of the sect who were merely watching are all shocked. Zhou Miaoli is especially jealous, thinking that Li Laiyu must have known about the Heavenly Dao foundation building in Pei Ling's possession. "If I had known, I would have tried to win Pei Ling over at any cost." After inspecting the jade slip, Li Laiyu quickly confirms that it's a triple tribulation foundation method called Cursed Ghost Foundation, stronger than the double tribulation foundation she had constructed. She thinks to herself, "I can't let others know, as it would only bring more trouble for me and Pei Ling." With that thought, she puts down the jade slip and nods, saying, "It is indeed a Heavenly Dao foundation building technique, but sadly it's just a single tribulation foundation method." Hearing that it's only a single tribulation foundation, the interest of the surrounding high-ranking members significantly wanes. The scene shifts, and we find Zhou Miaoli back at her residence, still indignant. To Li Laiyu, a single tribulation Heavenly Dao foundation building technique may be just a cherry on top, but for her, it is immensely important. The Zhou family had to arrange a marital alliance with the Si Hong family precisely because they lacked a Heavenly Dao foundation building method. Having one would mean that they wouldn't have to rely on others. A maid cautiously asks if they should arrange for someone to eliminate this ungrateful Pei Ling. Although Zhou Miaoli's eyes flash with murderous intent, she quickly restrains her anger. Pei Ling has just won the grand competition and is in the limelight. Not to mention the sect would not permit such bullying, and Li Laiyu would certainly not allow anything to happen to him. She thinks to herself, "I'll find an opportunity to make contact with Pei Ling. As long as he's willing to give up the Heavenly Dao foundation building, I can fulfill any of his requests." Meanwhile, after learning that Pei Ling's understanding of Heavenly Dao foundation building comes entirely from the Cursed Ghost Foundation, Li Laiyu gives him a brief rundown. She says, "Even in one of the 9 major sects, Heavy Mist's sect only has 3 types of Heavenly Dao foundation building techniques: the Kuei Yuan Foundation controlled by the Su family, the Ming Shui Foundation owned by the Si Hong family, and my Li family's Sha Nu Foundation. All 3 foundations in the Holy Sect are double tribulation Heavenly Dao foundations. What you gave me, the Cursed Ghost Foundation, is a stronger triple tribulation foundation. If this gets out, it won't do you any good. But now that you're one of mine, no one can touch you, not even people from my Li family." Hearing this, Pei Ling instantly understands understands that Li Liu concealed the true nature of the Triple Tribulation Foundation after the grand competition to protect him. Li Liu then returns a brand new Heavenly Dao Foundation to Pei Ling and instructs Jiao and I to take him back. After Pei Ling leaves, Li Liu gives a cold smile. With a Heavenly Dao Foundation, we now have the qualifications to compete for the fourth true inheritance. My Dao companion must also be of true inheritance.